We've already incorporated some of the shuffles in our practicing this today. I want to put some words to them, but I do want to give you the disclaimer that the way that people use to describe these shuffles is not set in stone. It's just kind of passed from one to the next. So people have different words for these terms. But I did some research to see as best as I could which terms came up most often. And in general, what we're going to talk about is what some people refer to as the simple shuffle or the Nashville shuffle, which is this pattern. All right, so long, short, short, long, short, short, long, short, short, long, short, short. That's the rhythm. We have the straight shuffle, which is kind of a term that I like to use, which is just a constant 8th or 16th notes, but with an accent on the backbeat. All right, and then we also have the Georgia shuffle, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, which is just a down bow on the backbeat and a up. The rest of it is all an up bow. So let's just practice this on. We'll practice this on the open G and D strings. We'll practice each of these bowings. All right. So the first bowing we have already practiced a little bit is just the. Nashville shuffle or simple shuffle. All right. We've already kind of practiced that one a little bit. The other one's the straight shuffle, which we've been playing a little bit too. One of the things I like to do with both of these is when I accent the backbeat, I'm also playing the next string over. So if you say you're playing a G chord, you can go G. You can kind of rock the bow. The bow, I'm hitting both strings. You can apply that concept to any of these shuffle bowings. You could do. That would be the simple shuffle or the Nashville shuffle. What I'm doing there is it's basically on the backbeat, I'm rocking the bow to hit both strings. It's just another way of emphasizing the backbeat. So let's try it. Let's maybe take a step back here and we'll try applying our 1-4-5 shape to the key of D, and we'll try the simple shuffle with the bow rocking. So like this. Sort of that idea here. And we'll do it a little bit slower. Let me slow it down for us. All right, so starting on the D chord, which is a first finger on the G string, the note A and D. Now the 5 chord, first finger on both strings, A and E. Back to 1. Time. Rocking the bow on the backbeat. 5 chord. One chord. 5 chord. Sorry, the 4 chord. Now let's try now the Nashville or simple shuffle. I may have incorrectly said that last one. That last one doesn't, I couldn't find a name for it. I just call it the straight shuffle because you're doing straight 8th notes or straight 16th notes. That's how I refer to that one. So the Nashville shuffle or simple shuffle. Try to get the bow rocking in there if you can. We'll try the same sort of idea. So 1, 2, here we go. That's the 5 chord. Awesome. So that bow rocking is something that you can do to emphasize the backbeat. You don't necessarily have to do it. You could do double stops the whole time. Doing the one note with a bit of a rock on the bow just sort of gives a little bit more emphasis on the backbeat. The final bowing, oh, actually before we go to the final bowing, I do want to mention that the advantages of these two bowings. I find that the straight shuffle, because of the fact that your bow is moving in a constant motion as opposed to down, up, down, up, changing every other beat, I find that that shuffle is a really good shuffle to use in the top of your bow very quietly, and it's a very easy one to sing along with. So, for example, some glad morning when this life is o'er, I fly away. Right? That shuffle, to me, is easier to sing along with than some glad morning when this life is o'er. That, to me, takes a lot more brain power, and I almost never use that. So that's the advantage of, I think, the straight shuffle. It's a good thing to sing along with if you want to sing and play at the same time, which is a challenge in itself. But just kind of, you know, if there were to do anything, it would be the straight shuffle, you know, kind of in the tip of the bow. So you can kind of hear your voice nice and strong. All right. The advantage of the other one, the Nashville shuffle or the straight shuffle, Nashville shuffle or simple shuffle. The advantages to that one are, since there are, basically you're doing a quarter note and 2 eighth notes, or you could think about it as an eighth note and 2 16th notes, you get 2 possible notes that you can play within the long bow, as in you can add slurs. So what I like with this is you can do what are called, on the guitar, they're called hammer-ons. And basically it's just you're either sliding into the notes of the chord, that's a good way to think about it, or well, think about it as sliding, that's a good way to think about it first. So, you can slide, or you can go from a note below, like to go to the D chord, you can go. Or slide. So let's practice that maybe slowly. Just try either sliding or dropping the finger from a note lower while you're doing the Nashville or simple shuffle. And we'll do this at a reduced speed. That's a good speed, I think. So I'm just going to maybe drop my finger down. That would be called like a hammer-on. Add fingers, but you could do something like this. Don't worry about it. So that is the advantage of the Nashville or simple shuffle, that we can add some, slides or hammer-ons or any sort of thing. It's a great way for making it a little bit more interesting. In the end, we want to be able to combine, mix and match all three of these when we play kind of rhythmic backup. That's the best way to do it. Now the final one is the Georgia Shuffle, which is great for playing notes, but I noticed in my own reflection of my playing that I also use it in backup a lot. The Georgia Shuffle sounds like this, if we're playing it in a rhythmic context. I'm going to play at normal speed first so you can kind of see it. So that's what it looks like. Let me break that down. It's essentially the length of 3 notes on an up bow and then a down bow on the back beat. So it's a little bit crooked with the rhythm. It's hard to get into it, but once you get into it, it's a little bit easier. So I want to mention the rock of the bow too, because that's something I think about. So let's see. Like G and then G and D at the same time, and then pulling the bow. It's very hard to hear that in context without a drum beat or something though, so let me show you maybe that in the context of a slow drum beat. That's still a little too fast. Maybe that's still a little too fast. Let me slow it down even more. So on the snare, we're trying to pull the bow, and everything else is an up bow. So notice how fast we have to pull the bow in order to keep in the same portion of the bow. So that's the Georgia Shuffle. If we put that in context, it sounds like this.
Down beside where the waters flow.
Let's try maybe 80%.
Down by the banks.
Let's try starting on the D chord. Back to the straight shuffle. 5 chord. To the 1 chord. To the 4 chord. one round, and I'm going to guide for the first maybe minute. I'm going to guide you through the switching of them, and then I want you to try to switch on your own. So eventually we want to be able to kind of freely go between all of these. And I'll show you what maybe that sounds like, but I'll give you a chance to practice it first. So let's do one round of me telling you how to switch, and then at some point I'll let you kind of switch on your own. Let's start with the straight shuffle, so constant bow movement, straight. To A, 5 chord. To the 1 chord. To the 4 chord, open G and D. All right, now switch to the simple or Nashville shuffle, long short chart. The 4 chord. Now the Georgia shuffle. Back to the straight shuffle. To the Nashville shuffle, long short short. Yeah, nice. Now just one more round of you switching on your own. Okay. So, and use any of the three: straight shuffle, simple or Nashville shuffle, long short short, or a Georgia shuffle. Go ahead, switch.
To take a walk, just a little walk down beside where the waters flow, down by the banks of the Ohio, and only say that you'll be mine in no other's arms entwined, down beside where the waters flow, down by the banks of the Ohio.
Great work.